So, I guess I'll get started here on the thing that everyone's really worried about. The diff. The diff looks very impressive. To start with, they've rubber mounted it so it's isolated, which everybody knew. Not really that impressive. But, I mean, it is just beef. Like, it is heavy with empty, it's heavy. I mean, look how gusset's thick. Ribs inside the diff, super thick. Case is beef. I mean, it really looks good. Big improvement over anything else. Pinion looks the same. Overall diameter of the ring gear is the same. It's no bigger. But I mean, even just look at the thickness around the bearing housing mounts. It's just all beef, like real thick, good stuff. First thing that I've seen that I've always said was a big problem with the diff was the design of the outputs with the single slide design. See, they changed it and did a double, and they put oil grooves in it so it shouldn't wear out, should last a longer. So if you look at it, it actually slides into itself twice. So this bigger piece goes over the first sleeve, and then it slides inside the other sleeve. So you take no deflection, like zero. That's the big issue with the diff, was the deflection. That's why TIG welding the cups together made so much strength. I can't move it at all, zero. Of course, it is brand new, but fits perfect, no deflection, and it has oil grooves. Like, see the oil grooves in it. Big improvement over the existing. The next big thing is obviously these are the rollers. This is a turbo roller. This is the RS1 roller. Slightly larger, if you can't tell. I'm trying to read all this and talk and do everything else. I'm gonna get to the ring gear. So as you can tell, big difference in rollers, huge difference. And as you can tell good right there, the different, what's a double. See, the other one just has a single slide between the two, and this one has two different layers. All right, on to the most important thing here, the sprag. The sprag is obviously just massive. This is a turbo sprag. It's bigger in every direction. Half-inch wider. It's just massive, thicker. Everything about it is just way more beef. Rollers are huge. And it's steel, it's not aluminum, it's heavy. Everyone's wondering where all this weight comes from in this RS1. Well, this diff is probably 10, 15 pounds heavier than a turbo diff. I mean, that alone is some of the weight. This is one of the cool features that I thought was pretty neat. If you look, it's the way they've redesigned the entire way the diff actually works. Normally, you know, you have the roll pin with a spring clip. Well, they've eliminated all that. You see, it's got these recessed grooves in the ring gear. There's 3 of them. Well, if you look at the back side of this, look at that beautiful stuff. So the spring actuation is actually by 3 springs. So you engage that there on the ring gear. And then a cool thing is you have this giant armature plate. Giant. This is it compared to a turbo. This sets all the way down over the plastic piece. And then that's the piece that this right here goes against your magnet. So this is what engages and disengages the diff. And I'm sure you're wondering, how does it work? Well, then it has a second armature plate. But the second armature plate goes on top of the plastic, and this is what actually locks to the cage. But the cool thing about this is this doesn't move once it's put in there, so it never comes in and out of your sprag, which is what tears your sprag up. All the engaging and disengaging is off right here. And it's got springs in it, so the spring should take all the wear and tear out of the diff being engaged and disengaged. Pretty cool the way they've pretty much just changed the entire design of the diff by keeping the same principles, but they've took out like so many of the weaknesses. I'm trying to see what everybody's saying here. But anyhow, so then you look, even the sliders are different. You know, your normal turbo 1K has the Teflon slider all the way around the outside. This has 3 pucks, and there you can see where they just snap on there. They're just like Teflon or something covered pucks. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but it's pretty impressive, you know. So I think this diff is really going to change the game. One of the questions I'm sure is being asked is, can you put it in a regular RZR? Is it possible? Yes. Is it going to be easy? No, because this thing is ginormous compared to a turbo diff. So, I mean, anybody got any other questions about any of the internals of this thing? Try to cover everything I could think of that was better and different. You can just look at the meat difference between a turbo ring gear next to that RS1 ring gear. Big difference. Anybody got any questions on the diff? Anybody? Jesus Alvarado's watching, and he's right there. And he's watching on the phone. It can be put into a regular 1K, but you're going to do some cutting. Yes, it looks to be the same ratio. Ring gear is the same size. I don't know what they cost. I have got one being priced now. But this is the big difference, obviously, in the RS1, is this diff. I mean, I'm tinkering with a little chassis project, and we're going to be putting one of these in it and trying it out. So, we'll go over here to this nice RS1. So we'll start back at the front diff. If you look at it, everything is just loose. Like, the whole front of this thing's modular. And it's a pretty cool, there's a bracket that looks just like this bracket that bolts on this side, but it unbolts because you have to unbolt this entire assembly and turn it back out of the way just to get that giant front diff out of here. I mean, everything, this thing's so much easier to work on. I mean, it's just pretty neat. As you can tell, the whole front end just unbolts and comes right out. So if you ripped your steering rack out, you could literally just replace these brackets and stick another one in there. I mean, it's really, really pretty cool. The battery actually goes in a box right here above the diff, and then there's a dry box above that. Pretty neat stuff. Oh, let's